I've had the pleasure of working with you on a number of projects produced by Orchestras Live in different parts of the country, particularly the East on the Requiem project with BBC Concert Orchestra, and more recently the Create Yarmouth project with London Mozart Players. Both of those used the heritage of the locality as a starting point for collaborative work. What is it about living heritage projects that particularly interest you, Sarah?
I think the approach is always the same, or from the same angle, about with a stimulus, getting to know something, and then using that as an inspiration, never as in a pastiche way, but it might be a piece of music. So we look at a composer, and it's the ideas that the group pick up on will take us in a certain direction. With the heritage projects, it's slightly different because there's more ownership to start with. Because it's usually the place where people live. So there'll already be a level of understanding and a level of interest. So it's finding something that's a little bit away from that. So for example, with the composing side, and I do this with other compositions as well, I like having sort of formula like numbers or colours, things that seem quite abstract for people to kind of latch onto. So for Requiem, it was the number of people who were killed during the First World War from Great Yarmouth became the sort of nuts and bolts of the piece in numbers of bars and the amounts of times that phrases were played and intervals and that sort of thing. And it's quite an abstract way of introducing compositional ideas to get people going. Then it goes in another direction, but just as a sort of instigator. But it also then kind of brings that information back home. That's something that's then sort of internalized in a way that maybe reading the figure on a page doesn't really happen. And the same with the Great Yarmouth project. It was doing lots of research and finding out sort of what to me are interesting facts as an outsider as well. I'm not from these communities, and they may well know because of course they live there. That's where they live. They've been brought up there. It's just part of who they are. But possibly me as someone from the outside coming in and saying, isn't that amazing? I go, oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
And just on that, I mean, how can this kind of work contribute to the identity of a place and its people? Do you think it can? Do you think it can help them articulate and create an identity for themselves that they hadn't really thought about before?
I think so. I think importantly, the coming together, back to the being together, creating something together, playing together. You know, the Systema programme was, I believe, set up by an economist, not a musician, because it's the way forward to bring people together to work for the common good, as it were. And I think that's a really key element. But also, again, luckily with the projects that I've worked with you on, there's always been a legacy. So I'm very averse to the idea of a sort of hit and run approach of we come in and we create this marvelous piece and you get to play with a professional orchestra. Okay, goodbye then. Did you enjoy that? But there's something aspirational, a progression. And certainly with the heritage projects that we've done together, there's been follow-up projects, there's been offshoots, sort of satellite things happening. There's been exhibitions, research continuing, which is fantastic. So I mean, it's not something that, you know, can turn a community in one day, and we know that everything takes time and funding and dedication. But I think luckily the places that we have visited, there are some just fabulous music and drama teachers who just go way, way beyond. And it's nice to be able to enable them to support what they do already,